States were left stranded outside their offices today as the state government begins the enforcement of its no COVID-19 vaccination card, no entry to government offices. A member of the state's COVID-19 response team who was speaking at Government House, Benin City, said there'll be some form of concession being the first day of enforcement.
If you don't have a vaccination card, you won't enter, no matter who you think you are.
Like the saying about charity beginning at home, the enforcement of no COVID-19 vaccination card, no entry to government facilities, begins at the Government House in Benin City, the Edo State capital.
Okay, don't disturb her now, please. Let's welcome home. Let's go in.
Security agents carry out their checks. There are no excuses on their brief. A member of the COVID-19 response, however, believes that the opening day might still offer some grace to workers.
The enforcement essentially started in government institutions today. So if an officer of government had to go back home to get a card and comes late to work today, I'm sure, their directors are going to give them waivers. Even if at the end of the day you're not able to turn up for work today, there's a good explanation for it. I left my card and I had to go back home. It was too late for me to come back.
At the State Secretariat, the head of the enforcement team, Haruna Yusuf, is part of the screening committee.
What is in the office? I left it.
Who will now follow you to the office? We don't have that instruction. Our instruction is stay at the gate. We don't have that. Go home.
Mr. Yusuf insists that this card verification exercise is not a one-off event.
From our action plan, this is our pilot case. We're starting from government facilities. And going forward, we're going to continue to spread. It's not a one-shot exercise.
The Edo State government insists that the message is clear. Vaccination is not compulsory, but accessing government facilities without being vaccinated would be impossible. Well, joining us for more from Edo State is Mr. Kruzo Sage. He's the head risk communication pillar, the Edo COVID-19 response team. He joins us virtually. Thank you for joining us on the program. Tell us why this health pass or ban to the unvaccinated, especially this first phase of enforcement, should apply to state and local government officers.
Thanks for having me. It's no longer news that COVID-19 is ravaging the world, and I dare say in Nigeria. In Edo State, we're having a very serious taste of this very bitter pill. As I speak with you today, we have lost 54 persons in the current wave of the pandemic. We have 3 waves so far. We had the first wave, the second wave, and the third wave is what we are on now. And in this third wave, we've lost 54 people already. So, and then the numbers just keep rising. Tomorrow you're going to hear again that, at least 1 person, 2, 3 persons, in some cases, 4 and above. Over the last weekend, we had 16 deaths in Edo State, 16 deaths from COVID-19. And we had 2 pregnant women who were, 28 weeks pregnant, 2 of them among the 16 deaths over the weekend. And if this is not a crisis, then I don't know what is. So that is why we have to step up and, we have to, protect the lives of our people.
Now, as of perhaps 2006 census, Edo State's population was 3.2 million, which should have way doubled by now. And we also know that Nigeria doesn't have enough vaccines. Edo State doesn't have enough vaccines. So don't you think what the position the state you're taking is a little premature if there aren't enough vaccines for everyone?
As I speak to you, we have up to 50,000 doses of vaccines that have not been taken. So I don't know why you would say we don't have enough vaccines.
So comparing that to the population, as a matter of fact, but except you're saying that the reason why the government is taking this, if I may. Okay, so you're saying there is vaccine hesitancy then?
Well, you can call it what you want, but you see, we have doses of vaccines that have not been taken, and so we cannot accept the statement that people they're not. We have enough vaccines because we have some in our kitties that have not been taken by citizens. until we run out of vaccines, you cannot begin to say that we don't have enough vaccines.
So what about those who feel maybe they have a personal right, not to take the vaccine? Perhaps religious or other reason?
Well, that's fine. I mean, it's not compulsory. However, as long as this third wave rages, then you're going to have to use alternative ways to do, things you're supposed to do in the midst of large crowds and large gatherings. For example, such people are free to work from home. Such people are free to access essential services remotely. We're not denying their access to what they're supposed to be doing. But we're saying, you know what? As long as the third wave rages, as long as we keep recording large numbers of infection every day, as long as we continue to record a high number of deaths, we cannot have people who are not vaccinated milling around people who are and putting their lives in danger. Because where the right of the person who decides not to take stops, that's where the right of the person who has decided to take and protect himself begins.
So what is the next step for the state government in this vaccination mandate?
We're just going to enforce it. We're making efforts to ensure that we continue to replenish our supplies of vaccines so that at no time will we run out. But we're going to just keep pushing until we get as many people as possible in the state vaccinated. Our target is 60% of the eligible population. Get them vaccinated so that we can have some sort of herd immunity. As from that time, then we can begin to de-escalate.
Has there perhaps any group, civil society, taking the state government to court on this issue?
Yeah, we saw an order from the court in Port Harcourt. Our lawyers in the state have addressed it, and it's not a problem.
When you say it's not a problem, has the matter been heard, the substance of...
It's an order, so the steps have been taken to vacate that order. It's a court order, so the government's lawyers have taken steps to vacate the order.
Could you tell us a bit more about this particular order, some of the details and what it says?
I don't know what the details are. Essentially, it's just a small group of people who went to court in Port Harcourt to ask for, their fundamental human rights to be upheld. I don't see how the decision we are taking in those states to ensure that we protect our people by ensuring that they take the vaccines. I don't see how that infringes on anybody's fundamental human right. So like I said, our lawyers have taken adequate steps to set those orders aside.
We appreciate your time, Mr. Crusoe Sage, Head Risk Communication Pillar, Edo State COVID-19 Response Team. Thank you for joining us. We'll continue to follow the developments in Edo.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Let's go over to Taraba State, where the primary healthcare